All right, guys, here's the watch this video for Monday, November 6th. Real quick, I got to talk a little bit about what I'm hearing in my chat room. Okay, I don't advertise. I don't spend a penny on advertising, right? So people that find me generally find me through like StockTwits or Twitter, when they're trading. And they probably got into trading. A lot of them actually did get into trading because they saw an ad. They saw some clown standing in front of a jet with his buddies, and they're all talking about all the money they're making. Well, most of the money they're making is from subscriptions. But what I'm learning is, and keep in mind, I've been running this chat room since 2004. What I'm learning is a lot of people, some of these services, a guy will buy like 20,000 shares of some stock that maybe traded 300,000 shares yesterday. He'll load up on it. Then he'll put out an alert to his members. And remember, they've joined his service because they've seen him standing in front of a jet. And so it must be legit, right? So he sends out an email alert and a text alert. And then they pile in. And then it becomes musical chairs. And so some people, the first ones in make money. The last ones in obviously don't. Some of them never get to trade again because they think this is what day trading is. Some of them make money for a while because they're one of the first ones in, and then they get frustrated when they're not always the first ones in. So sometimes they win, sometimes they lose. But at the end of the day, they're not learning to trade, and that's I think what differentiates me from these guys. Plus, I'd never taken a picture of myself standing in front of a jet or a sports car or anything like that. So if you want to actually learn to trade, check the description to this video. We've got some links in there to free content. I've also got a special offer in there because it's really important for me to help people that think trading is chasing what some other guy called. I've seen and heard about other services where the guy has made a killing trading. So people advertises like crazy. You can't open a website without seeing this guy's face, right? Because his ads pop up. And I would say, ask yourself this. If this guy's such an amazing trader, why would he ever need to advertise? Think about that for a minute. So people click on these ads, they join his room, the opening bell rings, and then they hear something like, I'm long XYZ, right? And then they all start piling. And then you get a shorter version of musical chairs versus the guys that email and text. This is a shorter version of musical chairs because now it's, can I get out before he dumps it 10 seconds later? And also in pre-market, I watch these stocks fluctuate because you can tell the members are trying to jump in when this guru is talking about, hey, I might trade this one at the open. Think of what a joke that is. People clamoring all over themselves to try to front run the guy who's running the room because they think he might call it at the open. Again, if you've ever experienced this, that's not trading. Okay? You're not learning a damn thing. You log in every day, you're probably sweating your ass off because you're worried that today's going to be the day that one of these, the bottom falls out on you before you get out. That's not trading. All right? We're very big about teaching actual setups and getting long at inflection points so you're green right away and scaling out. And that's where my equity curve comes from, not from advertising and then scaling out into sheep. So really think about that. If you want to actually become a professional day trader, you shouldn't be following anyone. You shouldn't be, what's this guy going to buy so I can buy it? You should be learning from someone. So then, and we hear this all the time from people who have taken our course, then they're actually seeing the setups before me. I get emails. Mike, I was so excited because I saw the setup before you called it out this morning. I knew exactly what to look for. I was grabbing it, right at that inflection point. Some of them I don't even see, right? We might be watching 10 stocks in the morning. I don't even see one. And I hear from people, hey, I realize you didn't call this one, but it met all the parameters and I made a bunch of money. Thank you, right? I hear that all the time. So if you actually learn to trade, you don't need some idiot like me telling you when to get in. You'll actually know when to get in. All right, anyway, enough of my soapbox, but you wouldn't believe the stories I hear. And then I see it through tweets. I see these tweets, while you guys were worried about the jobs numbers, I was busy making $7,000 overnight on XYZ. And then if you go back and look, well, they took 10,000 shares of this thing when nobody was trading it, and then they put out the email. So these guys don't even know how to trade themselves anymore. They're so spoiled that they've got these sheep following them that they could buy any. They just pick a low float stock. There's no chart setup. They just jump in. They send out the email, the text alert. Then everyone clamors over themselves, and then the volume sometimes begets more volume. And so then the next morning they get a gap up and they sell when that's completely unfollowable, and then they have the nerve to brag about it, right? Or a guy will call a stock at the open. I'm long XYZ, 10,000 shares. It jumps up 8 cents. He dumps the whole 10,000. The bottom falls out, and then has the nerve to brag about it. Well, I only made 1,200 on that, but still a good trade. And if you look at the chart and you look at the timing, you realize 90% of the people lost their ass on it, and then they're praising him. YouTube comments, man, I just got to get as good as you. They're praising the guy. Think about that for a minute. Getting their asses handed to them, and then they praise the guy. That's willful blindness or something. All I can say is learn to trade. Learn what a real setup is. Learn what a real entry is. Learn how to scale out. Learn how to protect your profits. And learn how to play defense first. There's actual people out there that teach this stuff. When I clicked record on this video, I had no idea I was going to get on a soapbox for 6 minutes. But again, you wouldn't believe the stories I hear. And I have no idea how many potential trading careers are ruined before these people ever had a chance because they found one of these clowns first. And of course, now they're out there telling people day trading's a scam. Well, it's really not. Look at some of my videos. I show you my equity curve. You couldn't pull off an equity curve like that if you didn't have a system. And by a system, I don't mean jumping in at the open, hoping to sell to your sheep that are following you. That's not a system. That only works for one person. All right. Anyway, I'm sorry. Soapbox over. SPY basically sitting at all-time highs again. Super strong market. My list going into Monday. MYO has just had this crazy move when it first IPO'd and has clambered or descended into nothingness, for lack of a better term. But a nice pop on Friday and held up pretty well. So maybe we get a red to green or something like that in it. V-Ray, nice volume on Friday and held up pretty well. Again, you can see another high back here. So this one might go red to green and maybe work its way up to that those March highs. Certainly worth watching. CERS, nice high volume spike. Maybe a red to green in that one. PYDS, this thing's just crazy, but it held up actually pretty well on Friday. So even though it's way extended, I want to watch it. I've seen stranger things, so I feel like it needs to come in for a few days. But I'm definitely gonna watch it on Monday and see if it gives us a setup. SPWR had a nice day on Thursday and another strong day, holding up really well. So we go to 15-minute candles. You're basically flagging for a day and a half after the initial pop, and now it's trying to break out of that flag. It's extended to me. I don't, you had the gap up and then a strong close after 2 days. This feels like chasing, but again, we might get one of our low-risk setups that we teach in our course, and so it is certainly worth watching. Again, I kind of feel like that one needs to come in a bit. I had to throw one shipper on there because I went ahead and went with tops. I'll just go back and show you DCIX real quick. These are 15-minute candles. If you didn't trade on Friday and you were in a coma or something, you don't know this happened, but most of you probably know this happened. DCIX ripped from, let's see, like lows of 425 to almost 20 bucks. I will share this with you real quick. If I have to give myself any credit, as this 1-minute candle was forming, I was on the mic in the chat room and said, hey guys, this DCIX is getting a little volume. It's kind of interesting if it breaks 5, who knows? But I also didn't have enough conviction to call this through 5, but I was on the mic talking about this. And look at the next 1-minute candle. It ripped through 6. Now I did have people that grabbed it on my ramblings in the 490s. I'd be in a much better mood if I was telling you that I grabbed this through 5, and then sold it all at 18. But I never traded this one. I did mention it through 5, and again, I just didn't have enough conviction to take it. There's no way of knowing that was going to run to 18 or something, and of course, if you know me, I wouldn't have held it that long anyway. But wow, what a move. And so because of that, other stocks like Tops, I was looking for sympathy plays, and I actually called Tops TIPS, I said, here's a sympathy play shipper that's got a nice intraday cup and handle. If I pan out, you can see it a little better. A high, and then you have this lower high. I said, I like it over this flag, which topped out at 55 cents. So 56 cents was my idea, knowing that it had another catalyst, high of day break at like 59 cents just above. And you can see what happened there. It went from 56 cents to $1.32. So I did want to throw one shipper on watch. When I go to the daily, you can't really see that, but you can see the volume. So TOPS is the one I've chosen. You could also go with GLBS, ESEA. All of these are worth watching. SHIP, SINO. You could watch any of these if the shippers get moving again. Dry ships, you know, they're all worth watching. So anyway, I've chosen TOPS. SNES had this big volume spike here. Then it put in a lower high, kind of sideways flagging, and a little bit of a pop on Friday. Certainly interesting over 310. Want to watch that one. ANTH. Let me pan out a little bit. You can kind of see this better. Nice volume on Friday. I'm not in love with this, but it did have this big spike here, then a lower high, then a lower high, and try to take out this lower high on Friday on extra volume. So potential maybe red to green on that one. TRXC. This one's kind of obscure, but if you switch to 15-minute candles, you know, you had this high, lower high, lower high, a little bit of a kind of intraday cup and handle on Friday. So it's interesting to me, maybe over 290 or maybe over Friday's high, over 292, might push through 3 and start knocking down these other catalysts. So I think TRXC is worth watching. Under Armour goes on bounce watch again, just another red day. Really beating up stock, former Wall Street darling. You know, it's just like 4 consecutive red days. You know, I have to have a proper intraday setup. I had no trades in that one on Friday. And then AMCX, also kind of interesting. I put a line there at the lows that it hit on November 3rd, 2016. So it's been like a year, and it's had a big 2 days down. I'd like to see it flush below this line and then look for a reversal down there on an intraday basis, but who knows. Anyway, I think this one's worth watching as a bounce. We'll also add some gap plays in the morning that might be potential gap and go plays. All right, I'm going to leave it at that. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see everybody on Monday.